Suzanne F. Stevens, Chief Edge Optimizer for the Ignite Excellence Group of Initiatives. One of our key initiatives is the Ignite Excellence Foundation, where we invest, inspire, and develop future leaders in emerging countries. With that spirit, we produce Wisdom Exchange TV, where we interview pioneers, trailblazers, leaders of many in business, philanthropy, education, as well as politics. Today we're in Joburg, or Johannesburg. I've been here a while, so I can get away with Joburg, South Africa, with our leading lady, Jane Trembath, who is an airline captain and inspirational speaker. Jane has been flying since 1982. She is one of the first lady pilots into a somewhat skeptical male environment in South Africa. She had many proud moments with females first in South Africa aviation, but also made some spectacular mistakes, which she doesn't mind admitting, in navigating the minefield of being a woman in a man's world. Absolute pleasure to meet you finally, because I've been trying to interview you for a year, and finally made it back to Johannesburg to do that. So absolute pleasure to meet you, Jane.
Lovely too, Suzanne.
Another area where you had a challenge, and we'd like to talk about that a bit, is the sexual harassment piece. Because that's a huge issue for a lot of women, and in some cases men as well.
Yeah.
So do you have any insight on how one would deal with a sexual harassment situation?
Look, I think it's something also which people don't talk about, and it's a very unpopular subject with men, I'm afraid. They think that if they don't look at it, if they don't address it, then it'll somehow go away. But it does affect women very badly. And women are, I also believe that your own confidence level has got a great deal in dealing with it on the spot. For instance, there was one man I know who was harassing the younger girls. And there were two girls who told me how they dealt with it individually. Now the first one, a very young girl, she came to me for advice. And I taught her how she was entitled to say no and how to actually say no, because women don't know how to say no. They apologize, they say, oh, I'm sorry, but. And all you have to do is actually say no, just kindly and politely, but that's it, say no. Don't apologize or make excuses. So I taught her how to say no. And for her, then, if it carried on, then I had advice for her you could either write him a note or get somebody who she trusted to come and stand with her while she just said her piece to the man, and in the form of assertion saying, I don't like what you're doing and I want you to stop it. The other girl, she immediately, when he started harassing her, she was much older than the first one, and all that she did, she said, oh, don't be silly. That was it, and that was the end of it. So that is the other element, is your own confidence level, your own sort of sense of power in yourself, that the more confident you are, the more you'll just be able to brush it off and not worry about, the young girl was worried about him being vindictive towards her. Can tell you the wrong way of dealing with it is allowing it to continue out of fear. And these girls, nobody wants to take it to management, because it does get blown up, and I can buy that, because I actually went through that experience where I took it to management, and it was nasty. I put it in writing as I was requested to do, like a good girl, and then the captain who I'd complained about phoned me and screamed abuse at me over the phone. So that is why it's far better to deal with it on your own, to find the right way, by using assertion, either directly speaking to him or writing him a note, or asking someone you trust to help you with it.
You brought up the word confidence, and I know prior to our interview we started talking a bit about confidence and having it in yourself. And you can see these two women. You can see the one was very confident, just I want nothing to do with you, and the other one was afraid of the consequences. Yes. Of taking that, and I could see a woman evolving through those two stages, yes. Or never evolving. Maybe they're always concerned about what the consequences would be. Let's talk about confidence and your personal experience and journey as a lesson to others, where from joining and becoming a pilot to gaining the confidence to know that you could actually deal with these situations, and sort of what happened. You started talking about reflection of yourself and that sort of thing, and what you went through. If you can share that, because I think it's really good insight for how to gain that confidence.
Yes, well, I found that I was making mistakes along the way. I was getting this prejudice, and even when I became a captain, then I thought, oh, everything is going to be all right, and people will respect me then because of the rank. But that didn't happen. I still got people then being insubordinate, and even then I carried on trying to prove myself, and eventually I just I made a mistake where I tried too hard to prove myself, and that's when I really started looking within. And I realized that I had lost my belief in myself over those years, and that's actually how abuse works. When women are abused by people telling them they're useless the whole time, that is when they start to believe that they are useless. So you could equate that to a type of abuse, that prejudice. And when I realized now I'd lost my own self-belief and I had to get it back, I felt powerless without that self-belief, without that confidence in myself. And that's when I started my journey on finding it back, finding out who I was, learning how to like myself again and appreciate who I was as an individual, and then also respecting myself, because we do things where we just give our power away. We don't know how to stand up for ourselves, and we don't take enough responsibility in our lives, or we take too much responsibility in other areas, and also we don't live with integrity. We don't stay true to ourselves, and that all leads to losing our own self-respect. But when I learned I had to gain that back, that's when I started getting my confidence. And lastly, I had to just know where I was going, know what my purpose was in life, because without a view of that big picture, understanding what you're doing here, then you also just don't know your direction. So that was how my journey evolved, with finding all those things back in myself. And then I found that afterwards I didn't feel like I was a woman in a man's world anymore. Now I just felt like myself. I was just a human being again.
Which is really good advice. We're focusing on women here because of the nature of the business you're in, but any minority, it's relevant. Race, color, religion, whatever that is finding that confidence in yourself. Is there any other advice that you can provide beyond the confidence in yourself to not only to rise up and be a human being and not a man, a woman, a black person, a white person, a Chinese person, or whatever? Do you have any further insight into that?
Well, it is really just about being yourself, and understanding that we've all got that unique place in the world, that we've got a niche that we can fill, being unique. You could almost say it's like God has put us here to do that individual job on earth, which only we can do by our unique personalities and the way we're made. And it started off also I felt inadequate, because I thought, I've got these personality traits that get me into trouble. And when I realized that those so-called weaknesses are actually strengths when I use them in the right way, just being able to be the best version of who I was. And that's how we've got to go and just appreciate our uniqueness, because we are built like that to fill our unique niche on earth.
Those attributes that worked against you, it's knowing how to use those attributes, because that's who you are.
Yeah.
So you're not changing who you are, but just using them more effectively.
Yes, just learning how you were using them that got you into trouble. And I learned how to ask myself questions by saying, what is it that I don't like about myself, or what do other people say about me that I don't like hearing? That was part of being able to look inside. Because if you don't want to see something, then you won't. I found that I had other people saying things like, they would say, oh, well, Jane, you're very aggressive, and I didn't like hearing that. So I said to myself, oh no, they just don't understand me. And that's a form of denial. So as soon as I realized, hang on, aggression is something which, if I use it properly, that's the thing which gives me my fighting spirit. And without it, I never would have got over the obstacles, and I never would have got this far. So I had to learn that, just to realize what was negative and what I didn't like, and be able to use it in a positive way.
Thank you so much, Jane, for sharing with us today. Again, my name is Suzanne Stevens, and I co-produce Wisdom Exchange TV alongside my husband, Michael K. Ginwright. We're traveling all over Africa with backpacks, interviewing women leaders like the woman we met today. If you know a woman we should interview, please email us at info@wisdomexchangetv.com. Join us on our Facebook fan page at Wisdom Exchange TV, as we're updating that regularly, as well as our homepage of Wisdom Exchange TV, where we take people we've interviewed and syndicate their blogs, and there's new information on that every single day. So join us there as well. Thanks for joining us.